Good afternoon and welcome live to Lee Valley Hockey and Tennis Centre for the men's final of this England Hockey League finals weekend. We see Hampstead and Westminster will take on last year's winners, Surbiton. Ball patrol runs out to the middle. It'll be their job to get the balls quickly back into the turf. The turf yesterday playing reasonably slowly, and both sides will want to see an increase in ball pace and a reduction of the basic errors that we saw during the course of yesterday's games. Having had a chance to chat to both coaches, they're looking to increase the speed and tempo of the games in general.
Let me hear you, Surbiton!
Umpires for the day down pitch side in front of that great big zebra, just doing the toss-up. And we will see Paul Walker and Dan Barstow chatting to Chris Grassick, the captain of Surbiton, and Toby Roche, the captain for Hampstead and Westminster. The teams have been doing extensive warm-ups down on the pitch. Cold day here in the Lee Valley. They'll be looking to come out. It wouldn't surprise me to see some skins and some base layers, particularly in the early quarters. Semi-finals yesterday were cagey affairs to begin with. The results there from the day. We saw Hampstead and Westminster 2-1 winners against Wimbledon. Goals from Matt Guys-Brown and Sam French from penalty corners. Penalty corners have played a huge feature in Hampstead and Westminster's season. Wimbledon getting a late goal through Peter Friend, but it just wasn't enough. And Hampstead and Westminster, fourth place in the league, have made it to the final. Surbiton in the second game dominated for large parts. Beeston again didn't really fire. The 2-1 results seeing them through to this afternoon's final. In the women's game, Surbiton dominated Buckingham. Buckingham struggling to get any real goal chances as Surbiton continue their domestic dominance, and they'll be looking with their men to try and create a double this afternoon. Holcombe then, it was a frantic, exciting, epic last 8 minutes. East Grinstead took a lead just after half-time. Holcombe came back with two very late goals. The latter, a fantastic Ellie Watton finish, lobbing the ball over and advancing Amy Tennant to set up their place in the women's semi-final that we will see later on this afternoon. As the teams shake hands, I think from yesterday we have some highlights for you.
2 Steve Kelly, 4 Richard Smith, 5 Jeff McCabe, 6 Mark Edwards, captain at 7 Toby Roche, 8 Chris Cargo, 9 Rupert Shipperley, 10 Michael Watt, and 12 Sam French, 13 Matthew Guys-Brown, 15 Harry Martin, 16 Will Bias, 17 Mark Brown, 19 Will Kelman, and 20 Stephen Dowds, goalkeeper number 21 George Radcliffe, and at 23 Joe Crane. For Surbiton, goalkeeper number 1 Harry Gibson, at 3 Luke Taylor, 4 Lewis Potter, 5 Rob Barrington, 6 Luke Noblet, 7 Johnny Gore, 8 Captain Chris Grassick, 9 Archon Drayton Chana, 13 Zach Wallace, 14 Gareth Furlong, 17 Alan Forsyth, 18 Brendan Green, 19 David Goodfield, 24 Sam Spencer, 25 Nick Parks, 26 James Gore, at 29 keeper Taylor Seager Green, and at 32 Scott Evans.
So the teams are out on the pitch. Last final words from captains and motivators. The Hampstead and Westminster starting lineup reads Legg, Smith, McCabe, Edwards. The captain, Toby Roche. Watt, French, Matt Guys-Brown, one of the goal scorers, Martin, Quan Brown, who was instrumental with a range of passes from the centre of the Hampstead and Westminster defence, and Will Calnan, who was trouble through midfield. Surbiton start with international Harry Gibson in goal, Luke Taylor, Luke Noblet, Johnny Gall, Chris Grassick, Arjun Drayton Chana, who was a handful again for Surbiton through the midfield with some incredible pace, Zach Wallace, Alan Forsyth, top goal scorer and player of the year for the top goal scorer for the third year on the trot. Brendan Creed, David Goodfield and James Gall. James Gall, if you notice on the back of his shirt, will have Jammer for those of you who are looking to differentiate between himself and his brother Johnny. Ready for this game, delighted again to be joined in the commentary box by Mel Clulo. I'm Simon Mason, the two of us will try and take you through the game this afternoon. Mel, I'll come to you in a moment as Surbiton prepare for the centre pass to get this men's final underway. Forsyth on the ball, 50 yards deeper than he wants to be as he gets us underway and leads away towards the circle on the right-hand side. Surbiton playing in their white, green. Hampstead, red shirts, blue shorts and red socks. Surbiton playing left to right, Hampstead right to left. First ball long, Grassick leaves it in the middle of the field, and Quan Brown, who will be instrumental in this Hampstead performance, looks forward. Michael Watt rolling out, and Hampstead can settle. Mel, an exciting day after two cagey semi-finals yesterday, but these two sides very much deservedly into this final. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I am looking forward to today's game. Obviously, with Wimbledon not being here, the second European place that's up for grabs only goes to the winner. So both teams, I'm sure, will also have that in the back of their mind. So whereas if you've got a European qualified team in the final already, you can almost come out and express yourself. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for these teams to settle down, but once they do that, I think we're in for definitely an exciting game.
Yep, and the early exchanges, Hampstead just pushing for Will Calnan with some pace down the right-hand side. He caused trouble in the semi-final yesterday, impressive with pace and close control. The pitch a little bit skippy yesterday. Players in the early points of the game just struggling to really get stick on ball. Richard Smith, though, eyes up, coming forwards, looking long, slap pass. Good, clean receive. Taylor steps out. Harry Martin. Little jink left to right, just trying to open up space. Similarly, Michael Watt also caused trouble. Had the ball in the end of his stick a lot yesterday. He'll be looking to get up into those high right-hand pockets. Quan Brown leading from deep. Unusual to see him push forward. Ball across the circle. Now that's a close contest in front of Harry Gibson's goal. First real chance for Hampstead.
I think you can always tell with Hampstead and Westminster their intent by where Quan Brown plays on the pitch, and yesterday we saw him literally playing one of the centre-backs, pairing alongside Matt Guys-Brown. So to see him a little bit further up the pitch to start with is exciting to see, but maybe as the game goes on and the 40-year-old legs begin to tire, he may end up moving himself a little bit further backwards.
Well, he may well do, Mel, but he said to you yesterday that he feels like a schoolboy going to his first final, and that adrenaline itself will easily get him through the first 2 3/4 of this game. And you're right, he did play very deep. He policed the front of that defensive line so well. To now see him step this high, maybe it was a two-game strategy from him. Maybe they've looked back at yesterday and decided, you know what, this is the best way to win this game, is for him to play higher. Ball into circle, Callan picks it up. Lovely little right to left dribble, flips it across Gibson. Gibson doesn't get it clear. All the way back onto his goal mouth. Sam French trying to effect some kind of shot on the reverse, does so. Still with the ball on his stick, there's a shove in the back, but Arjun Drayton Chana gets away with it. Wallace carries forward, wins the free hit. Well, a little bit of a conversation just out of shot between umpire Walker, in quiet word, with David Goodfield.
I think he felt as the ball flashed across Gibson's goal that there was a shove in the back on the last defender that had taken up a fantastic cover position.
So it's difficult, isn't it? 'Cause in that contested area, 2 or 3 metres in front of the goalkeeper, both players have got to set their space physically. The defender will just looking to get elbows out and create a big base, and the attacker trying to cut across. It's always going to be a 50-50 shoulder-to-shoulder in there.
Exactly, and you want to see that. You don't want it to get to the point of dangerous or deliberate shoving somebody out of the way, but it is a physical game, it's a contact sport to an extent, and therefore, it's good to see and absolutely have the conversation with the umpires, learn where those boundaries are and stick to them.
Great diagonal ball. Forsyth has stayed high in the circle. This is very dangerous. Rolls back foot, gets a shot away. Matt Guys-Brown putting enough pressure on him just to force it wide, get the deflection, kept the stick into the shooting area. Goal creates width. Brendan Creed can look long. Options out to his left and then rolls out to provide the outlet ball. Fed into circle, Quan Brown on that direct line to goal, and that's somewhere that he's going to need to police. Surbiton have got great range of passes from their two fullbacks, Taylor and Creed, both able to play long and short ball. Cargo. Wallace paying attention. Rolls it out. Hampstead down that right hand side. Great sliding interception. Makes it a little bit tricky to just get back on your feet. Hampstead winning it. Roche. Ball popped up. Stays in control. Stays still. A little bit bobbly in the circle. Kicked in the end as Watt carried it in down that baseline.
It's already a much more positive start from Hampstead compared to yesterday. Whether that's caught Surbiton unawares or not, I'm not sure, but they've certainly come out here with a set game plan, which you learn obviously from the 2 games that you play in the league. But really good to see that they're pressing up and they're actually giving the ball to excite the exciting forwards. And yeah, I think more of the same for me.
Well, obviously international hockey, Mel, there's a huge amount of resources and look at the analysis, the video that exists, and so teams really can study their opponents. Domestic hockey at this level, will the coaches have looked at the games yesterday and tried to create alternative tactical ideas?
I think if they were looking at the footage from yesterday, then they would certainly be looking at themselves as a team rather than obviously the opponent that they've just beaten. But I would imagine that it would go back to the matches that you've played in the domestic league. Those 2 matches in particular. Yes, it's domestic hockey, but most clubs and coaches have got access to all the sports code and all the tactical gadgets that are used on the international scene. So the level of detail that goes into club hockey these days is as good as international.
Creed with space to run forwards. A couple of little missed traps during the course of that. Smith missing 1. Surbiton missing a second. Nice little ball from Prosser. Prosser the overlap. Forsyth getting himself out of the way. Good movement down that side. Goodfield rolling around that right-hand corner. Goes in again, takes the ball to the air. Good tackle from Guys Brown. Really strong. Caldo now can get his feet round. Eyes up. Martin on the overlap. Can cut in field. Threatens on the reverse. Prosser having to track all the way back as Caldo makes 50 yards with no contest. Martin, though, now takes the choice. Transfer around the back. Guys Brown. Back to Guys Brown. Shipley on his right. Quan Brown on his left. Quan Brown threw some delightful cross-field passes, particularly overheads yesterday, Mel.
Yeah, he's probably a nightmare to play against. He loves the one-on-one confrontation where he can use his individual stick skills, but it's just his vision and it's the speed at which he carries those things out. So, the opposition momentarily have a little breather, get themselves back on track, and before they know it, the ball's in the air, 50, 60, 70 metres. He's not the only one that can throw it, obviously, in the men's game, but it's just staggering to watch because it's done so easily and just so calmly.
Yeah, and it's not just that distance, it's the speed of execution. It's almost like as soon as the whistle goes, before he gets the ball to his feet, he's looking to see what passes he can throw. Is that pre-scan?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's quite interesting if when you do actually go and talk to him, is he doesn't see the first line of defence. Whether he's aerialing the ball, passing the ball, hitting the ball, he just doesn't see it. He's already looking beyond because he knows that he's got the ability to penetrate that first line of defence.
Goodfield carries forward, looks across, finds Parks. Parks thinks about the little reverse dink, doesn't give it. Prosser. Ball moving forwards, Surbiton retaining possession, Height getting caught in that bottom corner, little reverse stick dink in, but Quan Brown's read it on the line to goal, directly on that danger line. Hampstead don't manage to keep it in, Surbiton can recycle. Good patience from Surbiton, just 2 fullbacks looking forward, Grassick then looking for the ball into the circle. Lovely little movement, great ball in from Goodfield. Can Parks get on it? He can. Great kick, strong kick from Jamie Legg in the Hampstead goal, driving that right kicker through the ball. Under the arm hit in from Farrington, doesn't get there. Furlong goes round, tries a long drag round Richard Smith. First contact, seen as an infringement. Dan Barstow, our umpire in that circle, having a quiet word. Umpire at the other end, as we said, Paul Walker. Both involved in the semi-finals yesterday. Our reserve umpire today for this men's final, Bruce Bale. Goal, clever little reverse, tried to put down a drop off. Nice and smooth, Grasic offering the opportunity. Creed then can real width, opens his shoulders, finds Prosser out on the left hand side. Good use of the entire turf in that back three. What a ball in, quick ball, really sharp into the circle. Furlong was looking for it, but how fast, Mel, the delivery from out on that left hand side into the middle of the D.
Almost took his own teammates by surprise, didn't it? It was absolutely fantastic. First touch, exactly where he wanted the ball to be. But this is what happens, I think, now. Hockey players, it's not just a case of having the ball in the perfect position. It's wherever the ball is, I know I can move my stick in such a way that I can actually get the pass away. And that was certainly a half chance for Surbiton. But you know, going back to the sort of strong kick by Jamie Legg, he was pretty much a spectator yesterday. So for him to get that kick in nice and early will certainly settle a few of his nerves and get him involved in that game.
Good move. Farrington looks long, finds Forsyth. That's a great little move on the first touch. Right foot to left foot. He's trying to turn inside the defender. Hampstead, good chase back. Win the free hit. Callan eyes up. Juan Brown thought about taking it. Turned over, however. Grasic finds Forsyth. International teammates in and out of the space to run into. Good cover tackle. Hampstead coming away with the ball.
I think for anyone that's watching as well, it's really fascinating to just watch. Very rarely do the guys pick the ball up stationary, particularly when they feel that there's somebody under pressure. They've identified where the space is, and their first movement is to that space, so they can get their eyes up and try and find another path. And a lot of the balls get floated into space there's so much interchange that goes on, not just across the pitch but up and down the pitch as well. So the ball's into space for someone leading onto. It's almost they identify the areas that they want the players to be in, so they always put the ball there knowing that somebody's going to eventually get into that space.
Yeah, we talked yesterday briefly about the classic formations that you can talk about. 2-3-5 and 3-3-1 are almost an irrelevance now, particularly in the men's game. As Hampstead break forward, Callan with the ball on the end of his stick, trying to bobble it through, unfortunately running out of turf. Going back to that though, the tactics that the coaches use are so fluid now. It feels like it's almost, in the old days, what India used to be 5-5, or particularly now, it's almost a 4. So you do have more of a defensive unit, but then a real flowing midfield forward 6.
Absolutely. I think it's not quite at the stage where it's 11 versus 11, but you know, we did see yesterday a few forays forward from Richard Smith from Hampstead, and Brendan Creed had a little run up front as well for Surbiton. So you know, there are those players that do like to go through, and actually they're the ones that can often catch you unawares, because as you say, usually you have a set 3 or 4, but suddenly if one of those breaks forward, it's quite fun.
Wallace on the over. That's a lovely little ball spun round by Grasic. Can Wallet find when he can? And what a finish. It's a fantastic lead in towards the ball. It will come as no surprise that it was Alan Forsyth getting his umpteenth goal of the season. Top goal scorer in the domestic league for the 3rd year on the trot. Leads in. The ball from Grasic was delightful around his feet. The overlap from Wallace providing the forward momentum. And then Forsyth finishing with aplomb.
Not going to miss from there, is he? Pretty much put on a plate for him by Wallace. But you say, as you say, the build-up play was absolutely fantastic, and Forsyth's movement wasn't long distances, it was short, it was sharp. He got himself nice and low and just swept the ball at the goal, and really not much that Legg could do in there for Hampstead.
No, that's one as a goalkeeper, you just got to hope that it hits you. Legg went across the goal as he did. Forsyth's play took it back inside the near post. It was a great finish, and Forsyth is so dangerous. Yes, he can come back and play through, but Surbiton with a roll on. Arjun Drayton Chana, little bump ball backwards. Can he get it onto the end of a teammate's stick? He can't, as it bobbles past Goodfield. But the speed, the 3-man unit, it was Forsyth who started it, dropped the ball back and then led high into the circle. Oh, Taylor Roche goes down under pressure, shoulder to shoulder as Taylor led out. Roche had just got half a metre of space on him. Well, not frantic calling yet, but certainly energised calling from Surbiton, saying go, go, step out to Quan Brown as he came forward uncontested. Wallace twisting and turning, McCabe having to stay right on his toes. Again, what a turn from Forsyth. Gets away with it. It's a superb cover tackle in the end from Matt Guys-Brown. But Forsyth's first touch is exceptional, Mel.
Absolutely, he identified the space nice and early, knew exactly where the defender was as well, and just rolled off the shoulder and all or nothing tackle from Guys-Brown, but took the ball.
Stepping forwards into the middle of the pitch to create the interception, Luke Noblet, as the hooter goes for the end of the first quarter. 15 minutes have passed in a flash. The pace of the game so different to yesterday's semi-finals, but that 13-minute goal from Alan Forsyth splits the teams and gives a scoreline of Surbiton 1, Hampstead and Westminster 0. So Mel, it feels like different tactics from both sides. There's more pace and purpose, a little less cagey maybe they're now in this winner-takes-all position. They know that they have to do something a little bit different. Surbiton, however, it just feels like they're dominating the early exchanges.
Yeah, I think the first 5 minutes probably belong to Hampstead and Westminster. They've had half chances that have flashed across the goal. But slowly as that quarter passed us by, Surbiton came more and more into the game, and as you say, I think the last 10 minutes they certainly dominated the possession. Wasn't a massive amount of goal-scoring shots or opportunities, but Forsyth looks like he's got the bit between his teeth, and I have to say I think Zach Wallace has started the game exceptionally well out on this right-hand side. So yeah, some of the big-name players have certainly come to play, but some of those squad players that perhaps are not household names yet are also using this as a fantastic platform to put themselves out there.
Well, just going back to Alan Forsyth, his goal-scoring prowess, it feels to me like he's a little bit more of a classic centre forward. Yes, he can come back through midfield, but he does like those high positions, short movements in the circle.
Yeah, and I think if you've got a player like Forsyth, then you build your team around him. If you put it into footballing terms, how much would he be worth? I mean, top goal scorer last 3 years running, big game playing, knows where it is, but he works so hard as well. He knows what his role is on the defensive side as much as it is about putting the ball in the back of the net. So yeah, for me it's fantastic to watch him play.
Oh, Surbiton take the centre pass to get this second quarter underway. Gall playing in the middle, relatively quiet first quarter for him, but just it's the assuredness of players such as him. You talked about household names or not, and actually it's the bit parts that everybody brings to the table. It's the quiet assuredness of 3 or 4 people through the midfield that can then bring that ball forward and find players such as Forsyth.
Yeah, and every team needs it. You need the steady eddies, the ones that sit in the middle of the field and just 1 touch, 2 touch, move it around, always looking, marshalling the troops, calling them. And certainly Gall is one of those that, he sits there in that centre-half position, and it allows the likes of Chris Grassick to push forward and use the strength that he's got as well.
Surbiton bursting forward, they turn the ball over, Forsyth turning a little bit backwards. Arjan Drayton-Chana is down. It's perceived to be a deliberate foul. Umpire arms up in the air and outstretched for the penalty stroke. And within the first 50 seconds of this second quarter, Surbiton with a chance from the spot to double their lead. Certainly Arjan Drayton-Chana went down hard in the circle. Cargo having a word with Paul Walker, but his decision and reaction was immediate. It certainly looked ugly inside the circle.
Yeah, I think the question may have been, was he falling to ground as he was taking the shot, but absolutely irrelevant, to be honest. Interestingly enough, Jamie Legg just had a quick conversation with Richard Smith, so maybe some inside info.
Forsyth double step makes absolutely no difference down to the right hand side. Legg read it, but the speed that Forsyth attacked the ball, allowed to step away as long as he was in reach to begin with. It's a long reach, but he takes a double step run in, down and hard, everything behind it, full of momentum, driving it through the goalkeeper.
Got the impression that Jamie Legg probably thought he should do a little bit better with his face planted into the turf at that situation, but credit again to Surbiton. They've come out after that quarter to top chat with Mark Pern and his coaching staff, and certainly have got the bit between the teeth right now.
It's so difficult for Legg as a goalkeeper to know when to start that movement, because it was that double step run up, but then Callanan on the reverse, popping it into the Surbiton circle. Goal with a reaching reverse block, denying the ball towards Gibson's goal, flashing harmlessly into the end fence. Guys, Brown looking a little bit longer. That's going to sting on Wallace. Not sure Wallace was 5. It's good job he didn't get a touch on that. Chase back, but then, would you believe it, it's Forsyth down in his own bottom left-hand pocket. Wasn't the most cultured of clearances, but ball at the end of his stick, turn and get rid. Well, Wallace just thinking about going forwards up against Quan Brown. Not sure that would have been the most sensible one-on-one option for him, and indeed he rolls out. Taylor and Creed offering those simple outlet passes under the arm from Goodfield. Then he returns it. Drayton Charner up the left-hand side on his own, tries to cut in field. Double team, but does win the free hit. Rolls, doesn't go 5, never went 5, 1 metre one way to the other. Yep, I'm fairly certain that's 3. What's interesting, Marley, yesterday, Argent Drayton Charner's pace really shone out, and yet today, because it feels like the nature of the game and the pace of the whole game is different, doesn't shine quite as much. Everybody seems to be playing that little bit quicker.
They do, but I think as this game, you know, counts down towards the final whistle, I think there's going to become more spaces available for him to utilise that space. You know, Hampstead and Westminster are going to push up. They need to score goals, obviously, to get back in the game, and that's going to play into his hands.
Our ball bobbling down the baseline. Hampstead trying desperately hard to force something inside that circle. Nothing clean so far during the course of this game. Flashed across in the end. Looking long, so a little smile from Gall, was looking for that longer ball. James Gall, brother Johnny, stepped in behind him, and then Creed goes to backhand and drills it. Brown with a vital touch, because Forsyth had seen that. What a pass that would have been if it had been completed. But Quan Brown read it. As soon as that backhand goes, the likelihood, Mel, it's going to be on a diagonal because of the nature of the action. Yeah,
I think you can take some indicators from body positions as well.
Well, Callanan dribbling into circle, takes the air. What a brilliant takedown as he came in. Creed somehow, so it wasn't Creed, Goodfield somehow just popped an outstretched left reverse stick. Hampstead still with some forward momentum. Gall stepping in on the tackle, denying Joe Crane. Hampstead forcing Surbiton back. Surbiton, all their men within 5 metres of that 23 line. Guys, Brown looks long, little bit of a lift. Touch Creed top edge. Harmlessly out of play. Right hand baseline yet again. That's 4 or 5 times Hampstead have come down that right hand side. It feels like they've got a particular plan to go that way. They certainly haven't come out and around the left during this game so far. Shipley playing across it, trying to deflect it into the circle after that ball fired in from Will Bias. Didn't get the touch, but the Surbiton stick giving a long corner. Lifted, Callanan trying to do the same thing.
It's an absolute nightmare for defenders to try and trap those, isn't it, when the ball's flying in and you're chasing your forwards in front of you. You can't get in front of them, and you just think, well, at some point I might be wearing this or it's going to hit my feet.
Well, sometimes you have to make that choice, don't you? If you know you're not going to get a clean touch, sometimes you just go, you know what, I'm just stand here, it's going to hurt, but everything gets tensed up and you have to just protect that channel, because if you don't and you step away and you take that personal decision, then the ball's into your circle before you know it. Free hit given, 2 players in a contested space from the overhead. Clear and early blow from Dan Barstow. Shipley leading out on this left-hand side. Smith finding him. Nice little reverse. Noblet just getting done for pace. Ball in the circle. Brendan Creed steps forward, hits his back foot as it comes in. I think he was unsighted with the ball that came through a crowd of players. Absolutely no contest on the decision. Creed jogging away with the rest of the defence in the picture, putting on their protective equipment as Gibson considers what lineup he wants to run.
I guess the only slight criticism there is that he could have stepped one more step and he would have been outside the circle. Whether he lost his bearings, I know at some point you've got to concentrate on the ball coming in. Whether he could just have worked half a yard quicker to make sure that if it hit my feet, well, at least it's on the edge of the circle, because we know Hampstead have got a lethal corner routine.
Well, they have French and Guys Brown. Guys Brown, 18 of his 19 goals this season coming from penalty corners. Both the men at the top of the circle, left Castle, right Castle, both scored once yesterday. Out from Cargo, little shuffle on the top. Creates a space on the left-hand side. Sam French down, saved on the line, I think, by the defender. Certainly looked that way from Luke Noblet to Harry Gibson's left foot. That split of routines at the top, just a bit of uncertainty for the defensive runners. Diagonal ball in. Deflection. Michael Watt with his hands on his head. Well, he swung at that, and I'm not sure whether he pulled out of it, but it was Creed's foot once again.
I think the deflection actually came off Noblet as we see this corner again.
Out to the left-hand Castle it was.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the thing. I think when you are facing a corner battery, you tend to send your runners out in such a way that they protect one side of the goal and the goalkeeper takes the other. So in that situation, you've got to have good eyes. You've got to be prepared to also get hit because you may miss it. But in that situation, Noblet did exceptionally well.
So Flickers have changed sides. Guys Brown ready. Routine stays set. Little shift to the left. Opens the angles up. In off the left-hand side. Gibson this time with the post. Cargo on the rebound and gets it into the turf. Squeezes it through the defensive channel that Lewis Prosser was trying to protect. Gibson pretty sure unsighted. Brilliant finish off the back foot.
Yeah, it's the little shuffle there that you can see from Guys Brown, and he flicks across as it comes back out here into the back foot space. That's where the space is in the circle. It's away from the defender. Body weight is leaning backwards, so in those situations the only option he's really got is as you said, to play it into the turf. It's obviously going to bounce up into the goal. So many times you see players actually just trying to undercut the ball or get the stick underneath, and too many times those things fly over the crossbar. So actually a fantastic finish by Chris Cargo to make it 2-1.
So Hampstead getting themselves back within touching distance. They've had the forward momentum. Captain Roche down the right-hand side. It's that right side where Hampstead have really focused their attacking play. Watt driving cross field, no attention on, tries to just push a little reverse stick into the circle. Surbiton with pace. Goodfield choosing to run through the midfield channels, making a good 40-50 yards now. Ball out to the left-hand side. Pass completed, but Hampstead managing to flood that pocket. 5 or 6 red shirts paying attention to Grassick in the first instance. Wallace, ball to baseline. Finding a cross, what an opportunity. Goodfield committed wholly. Absolutely no defender anywhere near him, Mel.
No, I think the defenders have clearly switched off at that situation, but fantastic effort. Whether they didn't think that the ball would even be able to come in from the baseline. Fantastic effort by Goodfield to try and get on the end of that. Didn't quite happen for them, but danger signs again.
A good turn. Grassick, one arm off. Classic old hand, rugby style handoff. One hand down, left hand up. Bit of strength. Harry Martin, supported by Watt. Quan Brown rolling out. Offers the passing option, very nearly playing himself into a lot of trouble in that bottom corner, unlike Quan Brown, usually so assured, but pitch was a little bit sticky yesterday. Ball just getting caught in players' stances. And Mel, that movement from Goodfield just moments ago, the opportunity he had, it felt like Surbiton's pace through midfield, cutting across. The Hampstead defence all seemed to shift, and how important is it for somebody to be looking blindside, help side in that instance?
Yeah, Absolutely, it should be obviously the furthest defender away, so the cover defender can see across the pitch, can see everything happening. Obviously, as you're tracking across to mark your players, at some point you've just got to check your other shoulder as well. You know, you can't expect your goalkeeper to do it all the time. They've got to concentrate on the ball at some stage, but there was absolutely no call, even from a forward that's looking back into the D. You know, it's not always just about the defenders or the guys that are in the defending circle. It's everyone's got the pair of eyes out there that can be talking to the teammates.
Forsyth, diagonal lead, takes the ball, moves his body in the first moment. So important, as you've said during the course this weekend, Mel, get your body in the right place. Forsyth doing exactly that. Wallace trying to go through Quan Brown's feet, does indeed, and finds the trail foot of the Hampstead defender and coach inside the circle. So first opportunity from the set play for Surbiton. Leg, other than that one kick, very little to do. He'll now be running through the set plays that he's seen on video and on paper in his mind, setting up his defence, making a call as that 40-second clock ticks down. 40 seconds given to put the protective equipment on.
That rule always fascinates me, because if you're not ready to set up as an attacking team, you should lose the corner, surely.
Creed out to the top, left-hand attacking Castle, in, long drag, great save from Leg. Wallace dragged it in hard. Ball across, Leg out again with a big booted kick, but it's come off a foot in the circle. The flick was actually Gareth Furlong from the top of the D, wide and out to Jamie Legg's right foot.
Takes a little step back before he comes in to generate that power, and absolutely fantastic save. Ends up on his backside a little bit, Jamie Legg, but doesn't matter, does it? End of the day, he's kept the ball out the back of the net.
Well, full focus from Legg on his goal line. Different technique to explode across onto that right-hand side. Choosing not to go down low, getting the big blue foam kicker behind the ball. Get more pace on the rebound out of the circle. Double Castle again for Surbiton. Little shift, opens up the left-hand Castle again, long drag through. Saved down low on the goal line. Michael Watt picking it off. Long drag, but it was flat. Dead flat on the turf, readable to some extent. Heavy challenge on Quan Brown. As he goes down onto the blue surface. Protective equipment being thrown behind the goal. Hampstead reset. Great receive and turn. Eyes up, driving forward. Hampstead, good cover tackle coming back in from Furlong. Foul coming just inside. Ball moved 5, now can go in. Smith. Guys Brown, finds Brown. French choosing to recycle. Down in those bottom corners, Mel, how important is it to not get stuck in those and to come out and look for other options?
Hugely, but you know, we've seen some fantastic skills all weekend, and I think even though the ball does end up in those bottom corners, players these days do have the 3D aerial skill ability to drive in along out of those corners if they want to. I was quite surprised. I think that in that situation there was only one ball out, and that was to Quan Brown, and Surbiton didn't actually block that off. So clearly they're quite happy for the ball to come back out and be recycled. Wallace
finds Drayton Charner. Drayton Charner now can use his pace, tries to accelerate around the last defender. Ball popped out, there is a channel in. Not taken, now forced through. Quan Brown, stick out stretch, beautiful hands, coordination just to pick that, then looks long, doesn't go cross field. Surbiton denying that cross field overhead. Sliding recovery tackle in the end as Sam Spencer drives forward. Inside the last 3 minutes until half time. Scoreline still the same. Surbiton 2, Hampstead and Westminster 1. Great crossfield ball. Shipley now doesn't quite get the first touch he wanted. Goodfield getting back enough to deny the momentum going through that right midfield channel. Eyes up Calman, lovely little cut right to left. Was there an obstruction? No, he goes on the backhand. Through Gibson! Absolutely nails it past him. There was a suspicion of third-party obstruction on the edge of the circle. Paul Walker letting it play on. Indeed, what a finish.
Oh, it's just the build-up play as well, isn't it? I mean, he picked the ball up, did a lovely little jink, puts the ball 3D over a couple of sticks, and he's absolutely belted that. I mean, Gibson, I think, has just been beaten by the sheer speed of that. I mean, I'm sure he's disappointed because it's gone in near post, but what a finish.
And 2.5 minutes before half-time, Hampstead level the scoreline. An absolute rocket on the backhand from Will Calnan down the near post of Harry Gibson's goal. Ties it up. Brilliant individual skills, superb execution at the end.
Well, at least both teams have come to play and we're getting a bit of excitement.
Yeah, that's more in the first half than we had in pretty much most of the games yesterday, particularly the first quarters and first halves of the games. Very cagey affairs, but all of a sudden both sides looking to step out, create opportunity. Drayton Charner, ball's gone off the baseline only just, but that's the acceleration and the pace that we're seeing from these players during the course of this first half. I think Surbiton will be disappointed with that second goal defensively because it was individual skills that started out. It was superbly well executed skills, as you say, Mal, taking the ball to the air, but so many opportunities to step a player into that line and not just shadow. A little bit more aggressively stepping forward, could have got a little nick within that. Yeah,
and I think it started on that first free hit where he took it to the self-pass. It was outside the 25 and nobody closed him down right from the word go.
Well, same player, dribbling down the left-hand side this time. Cheeky little reverse stick ball in, over, turning the stick over. Right-hand dominance, try and tap it into the circle. Hampstead now with a bit of momentum inside this last 60 seconds. Guys Brown looking out to the right-hand side. Can they find a ball into the D? They don't, but it's still under control. Then fired round. Good take in the middle of the circle. Superb pick from Goodfield as he carries it out. Turns it over, however. Enough time for Hampstead to recycle. Cargo looks to come out, finds Martin. Hampstead using the full width of the pitch. Now can Quan Brown find a ball into the circle. Likes the diagonal right to left. Heavy challenge. We can see Forsyth picking up the first card, I think. And we do, a green card, so he'll sit out the remaining seconds of this half. And the start, and there's the ball in from Brown. That's the diagonal he loves. Looking for the rotation around into the top of that circle. Nothing coming for Hampstead. Now Wallace looking for pace. Disappointed, potentially broken down in front of him. But as the clock ticks down and the hooter is sound at the end of the second quarter and therefore half-time, Surbiton punished in the latter exchanges. The goal by Will Calnan exceptional to tie the score. So having had that 2-goal lead, Surbiton pegged back, and we find the half-time score in this men's final. Hampstead and Westminster 2, Surbiton 2.
Reverse stick from Will Calnan, hammering the ball past Harry Gibson in the Surbiton goal. Players taking their 10-minute half-time break. What a match we've got on our hands here. Hampstead and Westminster 2, Surbiton 2. ladies and gentlemen. Right, we've got some half-time entertainment. A thrilling first half in the Men's Hockey League final, but some half-time entertainment with the Jaffa Zorball race, which we're about to enjoy. Let's meet our competitors. Firstly, representing Bretforton. Is there anyone wearing pink here? Introduce yourselves.
I'm Vicky from Bretforton. We're here to be champions twice today.
I'm Stu. Big shout out to all the Bret people here today. Woohoo!
Right, Bretforton are definitely up for it. They're up against Surbiton here. Introduce yourself, boys.
I'm Toby.
I'm Johnny.
Are you any good at Zorball racing, boys?
No.
Right, one of you is going to have to go into the wind. So, right, we've got Ashley who's heading down the other end. If you want to head down the other end as well, Johnny. Right, the idea is a D to D race. So jump in your Zorball. If you want to jump in, Vicky jump in, and Toby jump in. As fast as you can. Now this is going to be hard. Into the wind, down to the D, spill yourself out, change over. The first one back into the D wins. So who's shouting for Bretforton? Who's shouting for Surbiton? Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, let's race! Well, Surbiton off to a flying start at the moment. Toby is going for the head down technique. Vicky is on her hands and knees. Definitely this head down technique is working. The London ball is winning at the moment, just about crosses the halfway line into a fairly strong headwind. But here comes Vicky for Bretforton. It's an interesting sight. Vicky on her hands and knees is now starting to lose it. Surbiton are surging ahead. The Jaffa Zorb is into the circle. Right, ready to change over. Change of pilot. The Zorball throws out Toby, and it jumps Johnny. And Johnny's ready to go. Off you go, Johnny. But Bretforton are coming back. They're ready for the changeover. Oh, look at this. Johnny is flying. He's got the wind behind him. Can Bretforton get some speed up? Ashley's got some work to do here, but I think Surbiton are going to take it. Surbiton are going to take the Jaffa Zorball challenge. Let's hear it for Toby and Johnny from Surbiton. Oh dear, what's happening here? Come on, Ashley. For everyone in pink. It's a very strange technique. I think there's a bit of lager inside this orange. This could be messy when he gets out. He's almost out! Oh, he's spilled him out of the Zorball. Come on, get him in the D. Let's hear it for the Bretforton Zorb team. Congratulations to Toby and Johnny, our champions. Well done to Vicky and Ashley. Great stuff, everyone. And a big thank you to Investec as well for providing the prizes of Zebbies for all our competitors. Let's hear it one more time for Toby and Johnny, and Vicky and Ashley.
One of these, I'm pretty sure it's not. Oh, yeah.
Going into Rio 2016, some had written us off. We were the underdogs. But it was our time, our moment, and our journey.
We won because of 31 driven individuals. No superstars, we did our job. We inspired the future. This is a new group with a whole bunch of new players,
And they are going to make our team stronger.
That day in Rio, Great British Hockey was put on the map. It's up to us to keep it there, and we've got the work in day in, day out to try and achieve that. We're ready for whatever may come.
They are going to bring a new fire to what we do. And that's incredibly powerful. And we welcome them so strongly into our new team. Together as one.
together as one.
Together as one.
I know we need to.
Where's that from?
Welcome back to the Lee Valley Hockey and Tennis Centre. It's half time in the men's final between Hampstead and Westminster and Surbiton. Surbiton went out to a 2-goal lead. Forsyth with a fantastic finish in the 13th minute, and then the double up on the penalty stroke on the 31st, 16th even. Cargo and Calnan equalised for Hampstead and Westminster. A fantastic reverse finish from Calnan to get those scores level. Teams back out. About a minute to go before we restart. The wind blowing. The rain's held off so far, but it is not a warm afternoon here in the Lee Valley. But the hockey is certainly heating up. Started at a pace that we didn't see at any point yesterday in the semi-finals, other than the last few minutes of both. Here it started at a pace, and that has only got better. Mel, an incredible first 2 quarters. Looking forward to the second half to see what more these teams can bring.
Yeah, I'm almost gutted that half-time came along, to be honest. It was an absolutely fantastic first half. Surbiton are obviously going to start this second half with Alan Forsyth still sat on the sideline on a green card. Whether Hampstead will take advantage of that, who knows? But yeah, I'm hoping that this second half follows exactly the same as the first, because it was obviously fantastic to watch. We certainly got caught up in it and couldn't believe that 30 minutes of hockey had passed so quickly.
Well, our umpires are ready. Harry Gibson ready in his goal. Jamie Legg not ready yet in his. He's going to have to get his kit on pretty quickly. He's been sorting out the defensive corner routines away to the left of our shot. Just clicking his helmet on now as Hampstead drive up that left-hand side with Shipley in the early exchanges. Probably standout players for me in that first half, Mel. Wallace for Surbiton was outstanding, with Calnan similarly through midfield for Hampstead, as Creed does very well to not get turned over, bundling his way out from the back. So yeah, well, those 2 players we picked up as we chatted at half time have had real impact and influence so far.
Yeah, Wallace has been moving exceptionally well through the Surbiton midfield, set up Alan Forsyth's first goal. Perhaps went a little bit quiet towards the end of the second half, but I think that's because Hampstead began to sort of gain the ascendancy, and as you say, Will Calnan has been that spark for Hampstead. His individual skills for that second goal were brilliant, and the finish was exceptional. So certainly for Hampstead's perspective, I agree with you.
Good turn from Grassick, putting pressure on Cargo. Cargo doing the defensive running. Good field fouling, just flashing a stick in against Cargo as he drove forward left to right. Farm Brown finding Smith. Guys, Brown looking long, gets the space up the right hand side. Steve Kelly just driving forwards. One-handed reaching tackle, and a good tackle from Scott Evans for Surbiton, penalised in the end, but having to pay attention to Kelly as he's driving down the right hand side. Ball comes back, long corner, Cargo on it. Guys, Brown flicks the ball down this right hand side. McCabe trying to punch it in. Creed getting his feet round. Simple ball out. Finds goal. Chasing across from Grassick. Hampstead holding it well, trying to create some space down both sides. Shipley driving in down that left hand side, gets his feet round, tries to fire it across. Ball still under control, played back into the circle. Picked in the middle by James Gall. Shipley chasing back, little foul on Goodfield. Surbiton can reset.
So it's got I know we're only a few minutes into this second half, but it's got the same feel to the first, really, where Hampstead came out in the ascendancy, asserting themselves on the game. Surbiton basically absorbing all that pressure and then hitting Hampstead with the counter.
Shave tackle from Forsyth, just catches the back of Quan Brown's stick, was trying to play that, and quite often you see those chasing forwards, the objective not to win the ball for themselves, but just to knock it back to their next defensive line.
When a forward backtracks on you, it makes you, the ball carrier, have to worry about where their stick is and what they're doing, and so often we see certainly strikers so keen to win the ball that they tend to give away a free hit or, you know, a stick tackle. Actually, it's the line in behind, or the midfield line, or the defending line that often picks that ball up, and it's just so hard to try and curb the enthusiasm.
That's a little bit of a touch chasing back as Calnan goes to ground on that right-hand side. Took a little touch from Luke Noblet as he came through, possibly looking for something more than that foul, making a little bit more of it than necessary. In my opinion, that's what it looked like anyway. But Hampstead certainly intelligent running from Calnan, because as he picked the ball up, he accelerated to what looked like probably 60-70% of his pace, and then as the defender stepped in, then went again.
And I think when you've got fast players such as Calnan or a Drayton Chana, it does only take that slight touch to send you flying, and it's, you know, it's not because they're trying to get somebody sent off or make a meal of something. It's literally they are travelling so quick with the ball that's unfortunately what happens.
Clever defending from Gall. Somehow has got away with possession because it felt like it came off his stick in the tackle. Hampstead having to chase back, getting a little bit caught. Goodfield trying to look for the overlapping run. There is an overlapping run. Well, Michael Watt taking that down. Well, both teams just having to reset. A little bit of uncertainty. There's the pace from Calnan. And what pace? Through the midfield. Tries to find it. Cuts left and back in. Creates space for himself. Pushes it across. Whoa, what a touch. Gibson, right hand up as Calnan tries to poke it over his shoulder. He got a touch, but only just.
I think to point out there as well, you know, Calnan, yes, you saw that change of pace as he went through the midfield into the attacking 25, but then the knowledge and sort of, I guess, the nous to then slow down as he hits the circle edge.
Oh, Chipley inside the circle, and that's great defending. You spoke yesterday about it, Mel. Defender's ability to pick a foot out the way as Luke Noblet kept his stick on the floor. Now, however, Drayton Chana lays it off. Can Surbiton capitalise? Vital, absolutely vital intercepting tackle for Hampstead and Westminster in the middle of defence. Turnover. Luke Taylor coming and having to throw the ball away. Quan Brown tidying things up. Turnover for both sides, but with real opportunity bursting through midfield channels. It's that support running for players that's different today. There's a commitment through midfield to create the fluidity and the pace.
I think when one team comes out firing and wanting to play hockey at a certain tempo, you almost want to try and match it as an opponent. I think yesterday was a prime example of teams being nervous, being, you know, a little bit apprehensive about the occasion, and therefore it transferred across both sides. And here, I wasn't sure what we were going to get today, to be honest, but it is great to see two teams actually, you know, going at each other and entertaining people who are watching.
Well, clock is stopped. Dan Barstow wanders forward. Only because Arjun Drayton Chana just got the ball in his knee as it popped through and then took a hit on the back of his neck as the tackle came past. A couple of substitutions coming on from the bench on the right hand side of our pictures. That camera behind Gibson's goal, looking down into the D. Closely contested space. Martin finds a little pop ball in for Cargo. Cargo tries to find the return. Martin stuck inside his feet just slightly. Now gets across looking for the touch. Wow, Lewis Prosser just tries to play that out from between his feet, manages it. Fairly high tariff option, Mel.
Not really sure what Mark Pern would make of that on the sideline, to be honest, but you've got to give him 10 out of 10 for ingenuity, I suppose.
Well, I have to say, Mark Pern is probably the one player I was lucky enough to play with who played the ball between his feet more than anybody else, so he probably just clapped. Ball down the left-hand side. Grassick now, then the overlapping run from Gall, trying to provide the support. Grassick getting turned over on forehand tackle coming from both Brown and Cargo. Missed. Now's the opportunity. 2-on-2. French gets his eyes up. Runs into the flat stick of Prosser on the right-hand side. Lead forward, James Gall just trying to allow Surbiton to reset with a back three and a centre half. Wallace hasn't really got much on, he's going to have to go one-on-one, cuts in field, drops the ball back but misses the pass. Sam Spencer unable to take the ball, but then a great cover tackle. Captain Toby Roche just dispossessed. Parks picks it clean from the bobble ball through from Gall. Gall just drops it away. Krasic offering that angle to create the width across the pitch. Just those triangles in that centre half. Centre half to midfield. Out to the defensive line. Creed now. Great ball forward. Lovely lead in the circle from out from the circle and from Farrington. Picked up guys Brown cleanly. Quan Brown carries. Prosser seemed to get his stick on that first, which suggests that Callan will be seeing a card. He does indeed. Green card, 2 minutes. It was agricultural.
I think it's just safe to say the distance at which his stick travelled made it very easy for umpire Walker to make that decision. It didn't sound very good anyway, but he's swung his stick rather than sort of sliding it in from a shorter distance.
Yeah, I think that's one of the easier cards that will be given over the course of this weekend. You know it as a player, you've seen something that you think you can get. That's a lovely long sliding slap pass. French coming away from being in the circle. Gibson leaning back. Goes for the crowd, doesn't quite get there. One bouncing in.
One hand, one bounce.
I'm not sure it had gone 5 when it's played in, it hadn't. Overlapping run, a good one, trying to create the opportunities. That late run from deep defence or midfield that creates the uncertainty in defence. Rob Farrington, eyes up, carries, finds the width. Cargo closes it down easily. Irish international just doing his defensive duties. Captain Roche draws a free hit, allows Hampstead to get easy possession. Now it's from these channels that Quan Brown was looking cross-field yesterday in the semi-final. We've not seen that range of pass so far. It's as if Surbiton's defence is sitting a little bit wider. Yesterday the opponents just got drawn a little bit narrow. Wimbledon sitting very much in front of Brown and allowing him to throw cross-field. It's not happened today.
Not at the moment, it hasn't, but there's still plenty of time for him to throw one of those cross-field passes. But yeah, I think it is a different game, and obviously every team goes out with tactics and different tactics. You've got to have seen that yesterday and realised that that is a threat.
Yeah, that's horrible as well. There wasn't ball in the first phase of that in any way, shape or form. The tackle was heavy from Will Bias. So, big signal. Penalty corner on the pitch beneath us as we were looking at that card. Hampstead and Westminster penalised, but assumed that it was impinging on that 5 metre area to some extent. Dan Barstow had his arms up in the air straight away, absolutely no question. So Surbiton now with their 3rd penalty corner of this game. Away out of that attacking huddle. Quan Brown just having a word with Paul Walker, possibly asking for clarification on what it was for. Now out the right hand side of our shot, what the other supporting umpire is doing is going right into the middle of the pitch so he can see down the line of the corners. Right hand Castle, out and dragged, leg saves into the body of Creed. And that's one of those interpretations that get talked about on many, many occasions, because the goalkeeper has taken the shot and played it down into the turf, and it's then lifted into the injector. Is that the goalkeeper causing danger? Is the goalkeeper played it down in the first instance? That one will run and run. I think in all the time in commentating, Mel, we've never got to the bottom of it.
And I so thought you were going to throw that one at me then.
Stick tackle in the circle. It is end to end. Surbiton penalty corner, well saved by leg. Out turnover, Hampstead counter. Ropey tackle inside the Surbiton circle on the back of the stick. Easy decision for Barstow. Evening up that corner count, 3 each. Cargo getting his goal as a rebound off a Hampstead and Westminster corner. A lot of discussion going on in that huddle, that attacking huddle. Richard Smith just rolling away. Still double Castle. Out to the left. A little bit offline. It's not saved. It's gone across the goalkeeper and the postman into the bottom corner. Matt Guys-Brown completing not only a comeback but overturning that 2-goal deficit to give Hampstead and Westminster a 3-2 lead off the left Castle, sliding across the goalkeeper. Nothing that can be done on the goal line. Postman trying to play across the body. Such a difficult thing to try and do.
It is, but it was flat along the floor. He's been, I think, beaten for speed. When you think about, certainly in the first quarter, the one that he cleared off the line was in the air from, I think it was French that had that one. But you know, that's why Matt Guys-Brown, he is a fantastic hockey player, but that is certainly the reason he's here, and he's never not on the pitch. Hampstead play in such a way that he is on this pitch, obviously this weekend for 60 minutes, but 70 minutes in the domestic game, and that's the reason why. Why bother looking at options when you've got someone doing that?
Well, we talked about not seeing the cross-field ball, then all of a sudden out it pops. 50 metres cross-field, giving Hampstead and Westminster the chance. The overlapping run from Joe Crane, giving them that space down the right-hand side. Ball rolled round the feet, Callan unable to create the free hit, carried out by Drayton Charner. Mel, in that penalty corner, it's that left-hand Castle just shifted a metre across, and it changes all the angles.
It does, and it's minimal, and then you know you see the other Castle also moving to try and intimidate the corner defending unit, but often that shift happens once the defenders have had to go back and start to look at the injector coming in, because obviously the number one runner needs to get moving as quickly as he can. Usually there is somebody there, the post player perhaps, watching that injection, but it makes it so difficult to try and defend.
All in, Goodfield finds Grassick. Grassick manages to get the pass away despite the contact. Quan Brown rolling round his feet, just rolling off that left shoulder all the way around his body, protecting the ball, getting it out to the side. McCabe finds the ball long for the overlapping runner Martin. Martin back out, Watt with it under control all the time that he wants. Smith. Surbiton now just sitting deep, allowing Hampstead a bit of time on the ball. Quan Brown rotating through from that back line. Harry Martin. Clattering tackle on Quan Brown, but he's caused that uncertainty in the middle of the Surbiton midfield by stepping forward, but now does he have to get back to the top of his own circle, set his defence up. Hampstead turned over again. It's just turnover. It was just scrappy, ugly in the middle of the pitch. Neither side able to get really good possession. Into the last 30 seconds of this third quarter. Hampstead leading 3-2. Ball in, Goodfield does really well, gets it across the goal. The diving opportunity for Forsyth. He's got his hands outstretched as if to say, I took a hit on the way through. Matt Guys-Brown, the defender, paying him some special attention in the circle. Quan Brown just go for the little skippy pass, very deliberately getting underneath it, making it so hard. But the clock ticks down to the end of that third quarter. Matt Guys-Brown with that penalty corner across the face of Harry Gibson, beating the postman for pace and angle inside that left-hand sideboard, gives us that scoreline at the end of the third quarter. Quite simply reads Hampstead and Westminster 3, Surbiton 2.
England Hockey would like to say a massive thank you to our sponsors.
And Mel, as the teams go into their huddles, it At times it is scrappy in midfield. Doesn't feel like there's a huge degree of control because it's counter-attack, most teams playing at pace. But it does from up here, to me, feel like Hampstead and Westminster just have a little bit more momentum.
They do. I think they've got their key players in the right positions, and those key players are playing it very, very well. They now have the 3-2 scoreline in their favour, so they can afford to be a little bit calmer in possession and in what they're doing. They don't need to rush things. Surbiton are now chasing. You know, we spoke many times about the curse of the 2-0 scoreline. Surbiton were 2-0 up, deservedly so. And now the pendulum swung back. So yesterday, the fourth quarters were absolutely sensational. This game has so far been brilliant, and if we get anything like we did yesterday in that fourth quarter, we're in for an absolute cracker.
Well, it suggests with Surbiton having to chase that, they've got the pace through all areas of the pitch. If they step out, it could play into the hands of someone like a Calnan, who was quieter in that third quarter, but has got such explosive pace to try and find the opportunity going forwards.
Yeah, and if you can keep a player like him on the pitch for as long as possible, of course you're going to go through your rotations, but you've got to recognise that that is going to happen. You know, Alan Forsyth clearly isn't happy about the little sort of, I don't know, shoulder to shoulder that happened, argy-bargy in the circle just before the end of that third quarter.
There we go, centre pass back from Hampstead and Westminster, finds Martin, Martin finds Watt, and Hampstead are away down that left-hand side. They dominated down their own right-hand side in the early exchanges, trying to find opportunity down the left now, all the way back out, recycled. Farm Brown carries the ball well, finds the width down this right-hand side. Steve Kelly looking to the longer pass in front of him, finds French. French 1-2, stepping out defensively, good defensive take in front of him from Noblet, and Creed just moving the ball cleverly from left to right, just sets up the obstruction, wins the free hit. Gall then played across, finds the whips, Luke Taylor out to the right hand side for Wallace. Wallace quieter in that third quarter.
Yeah, he set very high standards in the first quarter, and I think as the game's progressed, and I think perhaps the coaches have managed to, you know, get the team together, pointed him out, said we need to watch out for him. They've managed to nullify the sort of explosive start that he had, but you know, he's young, he's got a bright future, and I'm sure he's got something to say about the remaining minutes of this game.
That guy's Brown. Surbiton choosing just to leave Forsyth nice and high, probably as a target. That's where they want him. They slightly more high risk at the back, not defending with a full 11-man unit. Forsyth does like to lead over those short 5-yard spaces. And Creed just seems to keep going and going and going. Well, it'll come as no surprise there was a little bit of a contest, a bit of squaring up. Brendan Creed pushing Goodfield away. Felt like there was some contact in there somewhere. Didn't really see it in real time. Mo, you're having a chuckle next to me. What did you see?
I didn't see very much, to be honest. All I saw was David Goodfield put his chest on Will Cownan's chest, and then, you know, a little bit of puffing out, I guess. I mean, you know, Will Cownan is on a card already, so whether that's a little bit of gamesmanship that's going on. I didn't see anything in real time. I didn't think there was anything nasty. There wasn't a stick tackle or anything ridiculous from that sense, so yeah, not sure.
Well, it's the two number 19s going head to head. Goodfield felt that there was a stick just flicked. If you look at the, well, reading the body movements, that's what it feels that was done, but bit of a little handshake. All done and dusted. All right, can we get back on with the game? But it will flare. There will be moments in this with Surbiton trying to get back on level terms. Neither side now, and the individuals within, neither side are going to give quarter willingly. There'll be some aggression, particularly in the circles.
Especially when there's a place in Europe next season up for grabs.
Clever little overhead. Martin taking down beautifully. Lovely soft hands on the overhead, taking the ball in stride. Through midfield, good overlapping run. Great support coming through from Will Bias. Luke Taylor penalised and out of position, having stepped forward. Sam French into the circle, gets his feet round, drives it across onto the back foot. Calnan, who else would it be? Gets the swing in, but it's a clean I was going to say it's a clean tackle. It isn't a clean tackle at all. Callahan's driven that onto a Surbiton foot. Penalty corner number 4 for Hampstead and Westminster.
I think the sheer venom of that shot from Calnan is the reason it did come off the stick, but it unfortunately then bobbled onto the foot of the Surbiton defender just inside the circle.
It's those back foot shots that create that little bit more space. You only need, what, 50 centimetres to move away from the defender to get the swing. Calnan getting the contact, setting up the corner. Double castle again for Hampstead and Westminster. French on the right castle, Matt Grice-Brown on the left. Still with the angle, Matt Grice-Brown in and through. Gibson, big left hand. Ball pops down behind Martin. Penalised for the back stick and Surbiton counter. Goodfield, what a change of direction. But 4 men in close attendance. Oh! Lifted and got immediately, absolutely immediately. James Gall in. He slapped it with everything he possibly could, but he's reached into it and therefore lifted it onto Harry Martin. If that's hand, that could be nasty.
You could see the pass from here that he was trying to make though, couldn't you? There was absolutely acres on that right hand side.
Oh, James Gall knew immediately what he was trying to do. He could see the pass, you're absolutely right. From up here, there was an absolute lane if he could force it through those defenders in close proximity. But by reaching into it, you just open up the face. Popped it high, and Harry Martin has taken that on his right thumb.
Didn't want to come off though, which is always a good sign. But I guess that could also be adrenaline.
Well, I was just going to say, you know as a player if you're hurt. No, you don't. If adrenaline's going, you'd walk through walls. The number of players that we've seen get through games, you go, you know, that's fine. I'll be okay. I'll work it out later. Turned over. Hampstead able to come down that right-hand side. Grasic unable to get the ball in control. Driven into the circle. Oh, what a save. What a shot and a save. Callan yet again punching it up into Gibson's right-hand side. Gets an arm or a hand on it. Why? First tackle, you can only assume that that's been brought back simply because it's hit Drayton Charner's foot as he's carried it through after the first tackle. It looked like he'd managed to burst his way through. So a little bit of a word going on down there. I'm fairly certain Drayton Charner didn't try and hit it into Paul Walker's feet as he ran away. Just an unfortunate contact. If he did, and he can do an upright reverse over 25 yards, fair play. Surbiton now very much stretching play. Back 3. Players rotating back through to give a centre midfield, but the 3 forwards away, 75 yards away from Creed in the circle. Forsyth trying to find the space. Oh wow, in the middle of the circle, Matt Grice-Brown loses his stick and allows Forsyth to pick the ball up. Well, that's going to make the show reel of how not to tackle.
I don't know, it clearly put Forsyth off. I don't think he could believe his luck, could he? 6 yards out with the keeper to beat.
Oh, Calnow's pulled that through, but he's obstructed as he's carried it. And that stick obstruction, easy to read. If a player takes the stick away from the ball as they carry it, creates that contact. Both these umpires very experienced in reading that easily. Grasic back inside himself, trying to look for the space on the other side of the pitch. Cuts back inside Cargo. As we hit the last 10 minutes, Surbiton still searching for this equaliser, having had that 2-0 lead. Can they find a ball into the circle? Hampstead standing firm outside it. McCabe and Edwards denying entry. Hampstead now having to step out. Cargo having to lead that front line as Hampstead get caught a little bit deep. There are opportunities to go wide. Creed find Prosser, does so down the right hand side. Creed looking to go behind the defensive line. It was there. Gall had made that high overlapping run. Hadn't been seen from the defender.
I think it was then the realisation that the defender couldn't go into the space because Gall was already there. So if had he gone in there, it had the potential to be a penalty corner because the ball was going into the circle.
Arjan Drayton-Chan are desperately trying to do his defensive job, falling on the turf, and Hampstead can come forwards. Only a free hit. The Hampstead crowd calling for more than that than the players. The energy and emotion in the crowd starting to rise as we get into the last minutes of this final quarter.
Feels like the calm before the storm, if I'm honest. It's bubbling along at the moment.
It's coming, isn't it? You can feel it. There's going to be a moment. There's going to be a flashpoint. Cargo gets the ball out in front. One-handed carry. Just tries to take the ball to the air to get it into the circle. Oh, anti-skill. Farrington carrying it through, actually misses moving the ball left to right as he was trying to. Shipley standing in the right place. But ball back to Wallace. Wallace, having switched sides, was on the right-hand side for the first part of this quarter, out to the left. Diagonal ball. Two players in the space. Umpires disagreeing with opposite arms up in the air. I've got to say, I'd have given that defensively, I have to say, because it's two players in contest right from moment one. Good turn from Forsyth. Loves to take that ball out and then pokes it on the reverse. Leg comes out and kicks. How high did he kick? It was lifted indeed. Just led into that and just played it into the turf and popped it up. Forsyth did not give it up. And that's a cheap corner though for Hampstead to give away.
I'm guessing he's left-footed because he worked himself around the ball to be able to kick it with his left foot. But then to do that, I don't know, his body looked in the wrong position. The simple thing for me, being a non-goalkeeper, would have been to kick that out with the right foot. But cheap corner really to give away from Hampstead's perspective.
Well, again, in those moments, so difficult for players to regain their composure and concentration. Yep, could drive kick through it. Alternatively, just leave your foot in the way and deflect it off the baseline. But that moment has passed and now he's got to redeem himself. Defence lined up, three on his left, one on his right. Out to the top, it's to the Castle for the long drag through, but Taylor just didn't get hold of it. Well, you know this better than I do, Mel, but that just went nowhere.
No, and you could absolutely see the frustration on his face as well when that happened.
Well, there's an instant down on the pitch. Dan Barstow, Brendan Creed having a word. You've got to assume, well, it seems like he's pointing at something on the far side, whether there was contact between two players running away, whether there was a little bit of chat, whatever it may be. Creed still not agreeing with the opinion of Barstow, one of our two umpires. But I've got to say, every single player is going to need their focus just to simply try and stay within this game.
Surbiton certainly can't afford any more cards if they're going to get themselves back in this game.
Ball up off a stick, albeit just outside the circle. Sam French trying to force it in on his reverse. Barstow just calling it fractionally back outside the dotted line. Luke Taylor stepping in. Ball given as high, has to go back to where it hit him though. Back to 16. Creed. Creed starts to look for longer passes as the minutes tick down. We haven't seen a huge number of long slap passes from him. He's perfectly capable of doing so. Good field. Through midfield. Ball caught under his feet. Manages to get it away on the reverse. Offered down that right-hand side. Rotated through, Sam Spencer. There's Creed, finds the width. Prosser manages to get his second touch, does very well on the reach. Turns Smith inside out down that side. Drives it across. Touch from Forsyth in the circle, but deflects it away from Jamie Legg, who with a, not despairing as such, you'd suggest covering dive. Lovely overhead ball, Guys Brown finding that. What a takedown. Brilliant pass in. Taylor has been undone by the simple pace of the overlap from Hampstead. Captain Toby Roche getting to the baseline, offering passing options. Lovely turn. Ability of the players with the ball in the air to change direction.
It's the speed of the execution as well that's certainly impressive.
There's the overhead. Surbiton getting caught narrow for probably the first time in this game. Smith offering the width. Ball has to go outside the 23-metre zone. Watt offering. Smith giving the out ball. There's the diagonal. It's a lovely ball across. Good lead from French out of the circle to his left-hand side. Unable to get his feet round early. It's that decision-making what you've spoken about. To me, that was either let it go across the body to carry reverse or to really stop hard and roll over the other shoulder. Seemed like he received the ball, the focus on the receipt rather than the next action.
Couldn't agree with you more. Whether he didn't know, he lost sight of where the defender was, so therefore didn't know which way to roll. But also there's that element of just needing to keep possession as well, with the scoreline being 3-2 and under 5 minutes to go.
And these high areas, it really feels like Hampstead are winning the 50-50s. Surbiton a little back marking a little bit, caught negatively as French bursts in. Free hit, however, given outside the circle. And Barstow with a clear early call. Callahan tries to pull it through his feet. Read that time very easily. Okay, so we have our goalkeeper substitution. Gibson stepping out with 3 minutes, just under 4 minutes left on the clock. The bib being passed to Brendan Creed. Surbiton going for an 11-man outfield play. Brendan Creed with that bib on. He now becomes the player with goalkeeper privileges, also known as kicking back to you and I.
Sounds so much better though if you get goalkeeping privileges, because you think you get to put the kit on.
There's all sorts of comments about whether you want to do that or not. I certainly wouldn't fancy putting Gibson's kit on, having played in it for 55 minutes. But Creed now steps forwards, just gives that extra man. Is there something there? Ball across the circle. Gall on his nose, trying to get on the end of it, committed to the forward run. Surbiton now just need to get their numbers correct. They can afford to go man-to-man with one at the back and then throw an extra forward high. Leave Forsyth in the circle. Creed takes down, not 5 yards. Harry Martin just fractionally out of place. Player his experience, you'd expect him to be able to get those distances right. Well, in this situation to me, Mel, this is now about collective hard work from Hampstead, because with that man overlap, they have to leave the player furthest away from the ball free and then shift so quickly. Surbiton find that space down the right-hand side, long corner.
Yes, they do, and I think also from Surbiton's perspective, they need to be patient. They are going to get 1 or 2 opportunities and they've got to make those count.
Ball out across the defensive unit. Hampstead defence shifting quickly on that first phase. Goodfield takes it to the air, finds the foot inside the circle. Ball popped up. It was knee height but not hard. It's not about height, it's about danger. One person going to speak to Paul Walker. The umpires communicating with each other. From up here it certainly looked like it hit a foot. Goodfield did take it up to the air, but to me it was below knee height. Even so, it was a relatively slow-paced ball anyway, but it gives Surbiton that opportunity. A corner chance from the edge of the circle. 5th penalty corner for them. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Hampstead 3, Surbiton 2. Jamie Legg in that Hampstead goal, commanding his defence. 2 Castles for Surbiton. Creed to inject. Change of flicker out to the top. It's pulled through and it's in! They've equalised! What a flick from the edge. The 2 flickers change sides. Gareth Furlong delivered from that left castle, a slider across the face of Jamie Legg. It's a long, smooth drag, fired it in brilliantly to equalise the scoring, and with 2.5 minutes to play, that Gareth Furlong goal bringing us to Surbiton 3, Hampstead 3. Surbiton have changed back from Brendan Creed as the kicking back brought Harry Gibson back on. Shipperley First touch. Carried, Michael Watt carried, right hand side, tries to burst his way, little bit of a pop, it's in the circle for Hampstead on a stick. But there is a chance, Gibson down low and smothers. Foot inside the circle, Surbiton come away with it. Absolutely crucial that Surbiton had changed back to Gibson, because that smother, vital just beyond his penalty spot.
And we're in for one of those final 2 minutes, we hope, don't we? Hopefully someone's going to go for the winner rather than playing for the shootout. Looked as though that corner actually went between the post player and leg, whether there's some indecision as to who should be taking it or not. But again, it's just the speed at which it's generated. It's split-second decisions.
Well, it is split-second decisions, but not both you and I, from a keeper and defensive position, would say that the decision is everybody goes for it. You don't leave it for somebody else. Cargo trying to find that ball through, pass incomplete. Get down inside the last 90 seconds. Cree looking long. During that minute when he had goalkeeper privileges that Surbiton created that penalty corner. A little bit contested penalty corner as Goodfield carried it in. Then the ball popped to air. Can Surbiton manufacture another one? They can't. Michael Watt with the ball in his stick. Drayton Charner forces it in and finds the foot. Absolutely punches the air. Knows that he's brought it in under control with pace. Can Surbiton come from 3-2 down with 2 minutes to go? They equalised with a minute and a half through that Gareth Furlong corner. One more chance from the top of the D.
Well, you can see what that equaliser's done, can't you? They've absolutely fired up, and Hampstead and Westminster have almost gone to sleep. They look as though they don't really know what to do, and they've been hit almost by this wave and this almost tsunami of Surbiton pressure. Fair play to Drayton Charner, he's also fired them up as well, but the guys on top of the D now, they've got to get that heart rate down.
Taylor Furlong changed sides yet again. It's Furlong again from that side. Charged down. It's a brave #1 run, saying that it hit hand on stick. Superb from Steve Kelly to deny Furlong a second. Arjan Drayton Charner twisting and turning, using his pace, change of direction, carrying the ball forward. Free hit, foot from Shipperley. Carried forward, Drayton Charner tries to find it into the circle. Cargo carries it away, looks up. Oh, he just pushed that away from himself and turned over possession. Grasic, there is still enough time on this clock for Surbiton. They've got width, but they're at a back four. They still need to throw men through midfield. In, Gall, eyes up. Can he see an overlapping run? Finds the width instead. Ball slapped in, and Quan Brown policing that line to goal. Forsyth leading out of his circle for probably the first time in this last quarter. Puts Quan Brown under pressure. Hampstead have the ball under control. Can it be fighting? Gall tries to do so. Little bit of a lift, and at the end of an exciting fourth quarter and an exciting 4 quarters, Surbiton tying it up with 90 seconds to go with that corner from Gareth Furlong. They'd raced out to a 2-goal lead through a Forsyth double. Hampstead pulled it back through Cargo, Calnan and then Matt Guys Brown to give us a full-time score in this men's final in the England Hockey League finals weekend of 3-3. So it is a shootout we will go to.
The goals from Chris Cargo, Will Calnan.
Mel swings and momentum, changes of pace. It started at a pace we didn't see in any of the semi-finals, and as the teams shake hands, Watt is now going through the heads of the coaches and the players.
I'd imagine from Hampstead's perspective it's almost disbelief. They're, what, 3.5 minutes away from winning the game. But then they've done exceptionally well. You know, they defended that last corner. You could see #1 runner French was literally, you are going to hit me, this ball is not going through me. So fair play to him with the line that he ran. Surbiton, I think, have got to now sort of calm the excitement down and the adrenaline. They've got to be composed. They've obviously been here before last year against Wimbledon. So they've practiced this kind of shootout in a pressurised situation. Hampstead have got to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, pick the best 5 players and see what happens.
5 players from each side.
Well, 5 players from each side will be nominated. The shootout, an 8-second exercise. The attacking player starting on the 23-metre line. Goalkeepers starting in their goal.
5 players from each
You're allowed
side.
multiple phases. It's not all about the first shot. If the first shot is saved,
One-on-one
stays in
on
play, the
23
players
metre line. 8 seconds to score.
able to continue to play until the umpires say the time
Barrage of 5
is done.
side.
So many times we have seen shots, not just first phase, but second phase, goalkeepers making good saves, and then players staying focused. But it is the pressure of the shootout that now faces the 5 nominated players. And the 2 goalkeepers, of course, both of whom will have a huge part to play. Jamie Legg and Harry Gibson, both with important contributions during the course of that game. Both, however, will be a little disappointed with a couple of goals that were conceded.
Perhaps one of the goalkeepers, Jamie Legg. Goals for Hampstead and Westminster.
But this is something, Mel, you and I have spoken about in the past, that the analysis that's done, and everybody probably around the world has talked about Maddie Hinch's little black book, but at club level there won't be that amount of video of these players taking shootouts, so a little bit harder, it becomes a little bit more instinctive.
Yeah, I think in the ladies' game, I do think it plays more into the goalkeeper's hands, and that's not to do with the skill level. Yeah, Maddie Hinch's black book is known well, you know, all around the world, and I think other goalkeepers have now started to do it. But in this situation, I think it genuinely is that 50-50 between the players and the goalkeeper. Harry Gibson, will he face, you know, will Harry Martin step up? Maybe they've had a little practice at international level, but that's pretty much it. So, you know, I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's fascinating. It's a horrible way to lose, because at the end of the day, as we've said many times, there's a place in Europe riding on this.
And if you look in terms of experience, Gibson obviously internationally will have practiced more of these scenarios than Jamie Legg will have done, but Legg, a mobile goalkeeper with an immense amount of domestic experience, he'll be looking forward to this. This is the chance for the keepers to shine. The players, as you say, Mel, I feel in the men's game there's a little bit more, these are a little more dynamic, the ball movement that little bit quicker. We do see a number of players running out to the left-hand side, spinning around the goalkeepers. Will we see that? Will we see the players staying face-to-face with the keepers, just trying to get them a little bit off balance? Michael Watt lining up for Hampstead and Westminster. He'll be taking the first shootout against Gibson in the Surbiton goal. Driving in, eyes up, looking to see what Gibson's done. Gibson's gone to a longer stick. He shuffles down, and that hits the back fence on the backhand. Michael Watt missing the goal itself. Gibson staying on his feet, out to the left. That chop cutting across, not far enough, not enough right hand.
Sam Spencer now for Surbiton. His opponents is Jamie Legg.
Sam Spencer for Surbiton, lining up with a body position suggesting he's going to go left, pull the ball right, does, straightens up. Jamie Legg fast off his line, an extra couple of yards compared to Gibson, and that's over the top, honours even. Legg forcing Sam Spencer to cut the ball over the bar. Not a particularly well executed hit.
I just don't think he looked confident, and I understand about the pressure and the nerves, but just even the way that he set himself up.
Will Callan for Hampstead's second. If there's a man who's performed consistently through the game, this is him. In, eyes up again, watching what Gibson's going to do. Tries to take the ball round him, rolls onto the backhand. Is there enough? There is! Composure. Gibson unable to recover his balance to get himself right down onto the floor. Jabs forward, Callan out. Gibson goes on the front of that leg guard, slides slightly out of position. Callan forcing it underneath.
Alan Forsyth with Surbiton's second shootout.
So, Forsyth, league's top goal scorer, 3 years on the spin. Again, eyes up, just turns his halfway to the goalkeeper, spins round, full spin. That is class. Now, just the composure, absolutely brilliant. Full spin, Legg tries to counter it. Wow, that takes some model.
Fair play, fair play. I don't think I've seen a shootout taken like that, but that shows the confidence of the man.
Harry Martin for Hampstead, 1 goal apiece so far. Martin drives in, changes his line, goes right to start with, cuts across, takes his back to Gibson. Goes underneath, Gibson unable to recover, can't get his right leg out. A little bit of lift from Harry Martin and just pokes it into the bottom corner.
I don't know in that situation whether the goalkeeper can come out a little bit more and close it down, put Harry Martin under a bit more pressure.
2-1 Hampstead. Surbiton, third shootout. Wallace taking on Legg. Legg does very well, gets the first save. Wallace is outside the circle, but Legg covers anyway. Double save from Legg, denying Surbiton. First save, superb. Diving save, those big foam gloves out in front, and then actually the ball was out the D, but a great movement for the second. So Hampstead 2-1 up. Sam French, fourth shootout for Hampstead and Westminster. Drives in to the right hand side. Gibson steps out. Suggestion of obstruction, gets the width, does indeed, gets the touch. Sam French just didn't seem to make his mind up early enough. He took his back to the goalkeeper, now doesn't know where Gibson is. Gibson's mobility, that mobility there, exceptional to just keep pushing Sam French wide.
And that's what I wanted to see with the Harry Martin one previously. Really putting the guy under pressure, and it worked.
Luke Noblet needs this to level the scores. Jamie Legg hard out from his goal mouth, out to 8-9 yards. Does Noblet have time? Steve tries to go through the middle. Jamie Legg gets enough on it. Surbiton, 4 shootouts down, only 1 goal so far. Leads this one for Hampstead to win it. Surbiton last year coming from goals back to winning the shootout. This time Chris Cargo, Irish international. Hampstead and Westminster has the chance to win this league final for Hampstead and Westminster. Drives in Gibson, what's he got? Long reach with that extender stick. Oh, what a save! What a save from Gibson. Mobility, Cargo tries to take left to right and push it in. Superb agility.
Really quick hands, fair play to almost do the splits in the goal.
So, Jamie Legg can be the hero for Hampstead and Westminster. A save here will see Hampstead and Westminster victors. Goodfield needs to score to level it up and take us to sudden death. A little bit of movement from Goodfield. Goodfield goes reverse. Simple finish on the backhand. Legg unable to recover. Body weight thrown off. Seems to be back in his heels. Goodfield able to get round him. Pokes it underneath the hips of Jamie Legg. So after 5, Hampstead 2, Surbiton 2 in the shootout. Forsyth takes the responsibility of the first sudden death shootout.
Alan Forsyth, his opponent Jamie Legg.
Will he do the same?
Runs in, half spins, goes one way round, doesn't do the double spin, and that's what happens if you do the first one so well. Legg can't commit on the reverse because he's fearful of what Forsyth did. He did enough of a rotation to get round the goalkeeper, just finds the bottom right hand corner of the goal.
To keep his sight in the tournament, Harry Martin.
Harry Martin needs to score to keep Hampstead in it. Can Gibson be the hero? Martin out, turns his back. Which way round is he going from Gibson? Peels round, still keeps peeling, doesn't get the lift he needs. Gibson is the hero. He gets his body in the right place. Martin can't get it over the top of the big England goalkeeper. Maybe he knew a little bit about his international teammate. Martin fires the ball away after he's taken the shootout. He knows that Gibson's done enough, keeps his upper body up, big and strong. The ball over the baseline, and Surbiton, for the second year in a row, come back from being down with just minutes to play. They equalise in normal time through a furlong penalty corner, and then in sudden death shootout, Gibson making the most of the save against Harry Martin after Forsyth had given them that early lead in the shootout itself. So during the course of the game, Forsyth had taken Surbiton to a 2-0 lead, an open play goal and then a penalty stroke. Hampstead and Westminster came back through Cargo and then a brilliant reverse from Calnan. Matt Guys-Brown took them to a 3-2 lead, which they had with all of 90 seconds to go before Furlong equalised, taking it to that shootout. In normal shootout 5s, it was 2-2 and then going to sudden death. Forsyth, who else, scored for Surbiton, and then Gibson saves from Harry Martin to give Surbiton the win in this men's final in the England Hockey League finals weekend. Mel, drawing breath, what a game.
Absolutely fantastic advert for the domestic game. You know, you've got to applaud both teams. It's horrible that somebody's had to lose in the manner and nature that they have. The moment that Harry Martin missed, Chris Cargo took himself off to the sideline. He had that opportunity to win it for Hampstead, but Gibson showed his class in the goal there. Pressure was on. He knew he had to save it to keep his team in it, and he did. Fantastic for Surbiton. You know, they thoroughly do deserve to win it. You know, it's the second year, as you've said, in a row that they've managed to do it. They're there. They're the target now. They've got the targets on their back, and everyone was going to want to try and pick them next season. So, as I say, absolutely fantastic game. You know, I hope the ladies can follow something very, very similar. You know, in later on this afternoon. I'm with you. Time to have a bit of a breathe.
Well, no real time for you. I think you need to get down pitch side for a potential interview. We're just going to pause briefly in our presentations as we wait for England Hockey to get their presentations ready. We will cover those when they come about. But in case we get a pitch side interview, Mel's going to make her way down there. Well, and the birthday boy in the middle of the shot being given the bumps, the 18th birthday for Taylor Seeger Green. That's not a bad birthday present. We'll pause briefly. We'll be back with you soon.
With the successful captain. Wow, that was dramatic. Tell us what it was like to watch. I noticed you didn't take part in the shootout there, Chris.
Yeah, I didn't have the best game. I was kind of struggling with the hamstring a little bit. I didn't feel very confident, but yeah, I mean, we said before, whoever steps up to take it, you're doing us proud. So, you know, whatever happens, just go for it.
How much did last year sting you? Remember 3-0 up and what happened, but 2-0 up here. I mean, it was real drama.
Yeah, I'm glad it was an exciting game for the crowd. We made it probably a bit more exciting last year, but we're just absolutely delighted. And everyone that's come down to watch is amazing, is always supporting us so well, and yeah, we're just so delighted.
And what about that late penalty corner strike? That really was a turning point.
Yeah, I kind of thought we were going to snatch it at the end with the last corner, but you know, we fought to the end. We certainly didn't play our best game today, but credit to Hampstead. I thought they played really well and really pushed us very hard. So yeah.
And a word to your supporters, and indeed the Hampstead and Westminster supporters. What an atmosphere here.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Everyone who came down, thanks very much. Surbiton fans, brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, great stuff. Anyway, we're going to go and celebrate, and we'll get the medals. And Chris Grassett, well done, congratulations. Champions for 2018. A real dramatic finish to the men's league season. We'll just wait for the team huddle to finish, and we shall have our presentations in a couple of moments' time.
You're good, go. Do I need to take the try?
Presentation party makes its way out to the front. Surbiton, President of England Hockey, and Stuart Teague from Investec. First presentation goes to the man of the match from the final, and that goes, no surprise, to Will Calnan from Hampstead and Westminster. He scored the second Hampstead and Westminster goal. Beautiful reverse stick. As they just exited from our shot. Very deserving winner of that Man of the Match award. Outstanding through the course of the semi-final and the final itself. Showed a level of pace. Very difficult defenders to cope with. Will score consolation for their runners-up medals. And umpires forward for their presentation, the commemorative medals. This year's men's final. Sue and Stuart and Barstow, Paul Walker. Controlled the game very well, good communication between the two of them, masses of international experience. Games such as that started at such a pace needs to be well controlled, and was indeed. The runners-up in that fantastic match, having gone 2 goals down, led out by their captain, Tony Rush. They will be disappointed. They would have thought they had it in the bag with 90 seconds to go. Having shown the focus, the resilience, the composure, the professionalism to come back from that 2-goal deficit after Forsyth had taken Surbiton 2 up. Margot on the penalty corner, and with the backhand. And Guys Brown, no surprise, doing what he's done over the course of the season, firing in from a penalty corner to give them that 3-2 lead that they held until 2 minutes to go. Harry Martin picking up his medal. Will Bias. The back of that line, number 13, Matt Guys Brown, scorer of that 3rd goal. Joe Crane, 23, 21, substitute goalkeeper, didn't see him make an appearance. George Ratcliffe, and Matt Guys Brown just finishes off. Receipt of the runners-up medals for this year, 2018, in a fantastic men's final, Hampstead and Westminster. But the winners of the 2018 England Hockey League finals for a 2nd year in a row on a shootout, for a 2nd year in a row also, are Surbiton. Took that 2-goal lead. Bit of a wobble through the course of the middle, but again their experience showing. Coach Mark Pern will be delighted again with the focus and concentration that his team showed. Matt Jones, the team manager, will have been controlling it as much as he possibly could, ensuring the player rotations maintain the intensity of the team. Creed. Park's quiet today. James Gall. Our birthday boy, Taylor Seeger Green, major 18th birthday present. Scott Evans, and then the captain Chris Grassick comes forward. He said that he was feeling his hamstring a little bit, wasn't particularly confident going into the shootout, so chose not to take one himself. But as he takes the trophy in hand with Sue Bodicum, England Hockey President, and Stuart Teague from Investec, steps in front of the team, goes into his crouch. Hamstring seems fine now as he jumps, and Surbiton are crowned champions for 2018. They take that Euro Hockey League place for next season, culminating a fantastic year for them and for the club. Their ladies are up next in the women's final, but they went out to a 2-goal lead. Forsyth with a double. Hampstead and Westminster came back 3-2 and were leading with moments to go. The equaliser on a corner from Furlong took them to a shootout. 2-2 at the end of that shootout to sudden death. Forsyth, who else, got them in the lead. And then Gibson, their huge international goalkeeper, showed his mobility, his poise, his experience to deny Harry Martin to leave Surbiton with the cup as they lift it for a second time for our photographers. It's been an enthralling final to finish off the men's competition. Our winners for 2018, Surbiton Hockey Club. Thanks for your company. We'll be back with the women's final soon.
So Alan, many congratulations. Surbiton have just won the title again for a second year running. Can you sum up the emotions in that game?
Seems like we like to leave it last minute, so I'll get back into the game now. To be honest, Hampstead, I think the second half had more chances and they were better than us, but we know that we played to the final whistle. We know we've got the flickers, the corner routines, we know we've got the attacking play to get ourselves back in the game. So we'll look at, we're a bit disappointed being 2-0 up and Hampstead getting back into it, but fair play to them, they played really well. So I think there's no real emotion at the moment apart from we've done it again. And I think it's been real difficult this year with a lot of games and a lot of players away and stuff like that. So I think Pernie's did a real tough job trying to get our squad together and keep everyone happy. And it is difficult. There's a few guys who didn't play today who have played a lot during the season. But I think for us it's absolutely fantastic as a club to do the double, and I think it's some special things to come. Even like Zach Wallace today, he's 18 years old and he was absolutely superb.
And what do you think the secret of success is to a club like Surbiton?
We don't give up. Simple as that. It's a little bit like football. You fit the old United on a Fergie time, but we know for a fact until that full-time hooter goes, we're in the game, and it showed. So I think the way we've played today, again, similar to last year, we played until the full-time whistle, and we even had a chance right at the end of the corner, pretty much 30 seconds to go. So it's absolutely brilliant, and I'm sure we'll enjoy it tonight.
And final question, because I know you want to go over and join the boys, but your first take on the shootout planned?
Yeah, I'd ask Gibble. I did it to him on Thursday night. Everyone thinks I'm going to spin and shoot, so you go the full way and you put it in.
Fantastic. Congratulations once again and go and join the team.